anyone who stood in Hitler's way. Thousands of political opponents were sent to hundreds of concentration camps. The first was near the German village of Dachau.
Everyone knew that you could be sent to such a camp without due process of law. We had a verse that was widely recited: Lieber Gott, mach mich stumm, dass ich nicht nach Dachau komm. Dear God, strike me dumb so that I won't be sent to Dachau.
In the new Germany, everyone was classified by race. In the new Germany, only those who Hitler considered perfect, the purest members of the Aryan race, were welcome.
The main undesirable group were the Jewish people, the Jews. We were being told that the Jews, they are behind everything which is bad in Germany.
There was a lot of propaganda against the Jews. There were no longer any normal newspapers. Most of them were Nazi. You saw headlines: the Jews are criminals, the Jews are vermin, they must be killed, they must be ousted.
Hitler had declared in Mein Kampf that Jews weakened the German master race.
Well, of course, we talked about race in school, and the superior races, the non-superior, the degenerate races. And the teacher had some calipers to measure the width of your eyes and your nose and so on, the head.
In our classroom, we had a poster. The head shapes from the sides. The Aryans, of course, they looked good from the sides, they looked good from the front. They were blonde and they were blue-eyed. And when I was about 14 years old, my hair began to darken, and I sometimes was worried that I didn't look like a proper Aryan anymore, because my hair was not really blonde anymore. And also my nose is a little bit hooked, as you might probably see. I sometimes then looked in the mirror, had another mirror here, and I was frightened that somebody should think that I had some Jewish connections.
2 years after they came to power, they came out with the Nuremberg racial laws, which separated the Jews from the German people. We were not allowed to go swimming with the other children, we were not allowed to play with the other children, we were not allowed to go on excursions with the other children, and so on.
Jews were stripped of their citizenship, their businesses boycotted. They were forbidden to marry or have sexual relations with Aryans. Any trace of Jewish ancestry meant immediate banishment from all civil service jobs.
I was classified a quarter Jew, a Mongol of the second degree. I was dismissed from the public service. All I had achieved through examinations, through studying and other efforts to establish myself in life, all that was by a stroke of the pen cut off.
Hitler had made his vision for his people a reality, and he planned to force that vision far beyond Germany's borders.
And I remember when I was a guest with my mother at the Berchtesgaden, you could see on a clear day, you could see Salzburg. And he pointed out to me, he said, "You see that there, boy? That's Salzburg. That is in my homeland of Austria. And one of these days, I'm going to see to it that that will join with Germany."
On March the 12th, 1938, Hitler made good on his plan. Americans heard it first from NBC's Max Jordan.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the Austrian frontier town of Linz, an endless stream of German soldiers is pouring into Austria.
It was astonishing. The takeover of a country broadcast live on radio.
The cheers are for Chancellor Adolf Hitler, returning to his homeland for the first time in almost 25 years.
Carla Stept lived in the Austrian capital, Vienna. She was 20 years old and a Jew.
It was my home. So when suddenly the Germans marched into Austria, where they were welcomed with open arms, the world ended for me.
It was a Friday evening. Crowds began to march down, shouting slogans. I remember one specifically, which was Jude verecke in eigenem Drecke, which translated means Jews perish in your own filth. And it was clear that something was imminent, something was happening.
Saturday morning, the brown shirts and black shirts already started to go against the Jewish population. They got Jewish men and women out to scrub the sidewalks on their knees, being kicked by the population standing around them. Hitler wasn't even in Vienna yet. But what took Germany 5 years took Austria 24 hours.
In the spring of 1938, few Americans could avoid the news of Hitler in Germany.
The parade through Berlin's Tiergarten shows that once again Germany has a real army.
That would mean war. When will Nazi aggression end? The democratic nations draw together against
Suddenly, as if in warning to the rest of Europe, Hitler orders all Germany to mobilize at its full war strength. 1.5 million.
Growing anxieties over the increasing power of the Third Reich turned a heavyweight boxing match in June 1938 into an international showdown. In one corner of the ring would be Hitler's pride and joy, Max Schmeling. In the other, the American champion, Joe Louis.
Joe symbolized not only the fight against discrimination, but the struggle against fascism at a time when the entire world was talking about Hitler and Mussolini, anti-Semitism.
Under the ring, Max laying around him. Joe Louis led quick with two straight lefts to the chin.
There was tremendous tension.
A left to the jaw, a right to the head, and Donovan is watching carefully.
I was glued to the radio.
Louis measures him, right to the body, a left hook to the jaw, and Schmeling is down.
We just exploded, shouted, wow!
The count is 5, 6. The men are in the ring. The fight is over. Max Schmeling is beaten in 1 round.
People shouted out of their windows, Joe won, all up and down the neighborhood.
And still champion, Joe Louis!
We won. It was a victory. And we needed victories very badly at the time.
When 21-year-old Milt Wolf heard the news about Joe Louis, Wolf was already fighting against Hitler in the Spanish Civil War. In that war, Nazi Germany was supporting Francisco Franco's fascist rebels who were about to overthrow Spain's freely elected government.
I was a kid in Brooklyn, okay, and I was caught up in this whole bit of the war in Spain. For myself, it was a commitment to a struggle against fascism.
Milt Wolf joined 2,800 American volunteers in the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. In defiance of American neutrality, they went to defend democracy in what was widely seen as a dress rehearsal for the greater battle with Hitler.
So these were guys who were essentially coming off the street. Most of them had no military training at all. And up to the front they went. They were hitting us with artillery. And they were strafing us with the German planes. And guys were getting killed and wounded. For myself, the war in Spain gave meaning to the word anti-fascism.
By 1938, democracy was doomed in Spain, as it had been in Italy and Austria and Germany. Hitler's ideology and Hitler's armies were a danger to freedom everywhere.
It has now reached the stage where the very foundations of civilization are seriously threatened. Let no one imagine that America will escape, that America may expect mercy, that this Western Hemisphere will not be attacked.
September the 12th, 1938. The entire civilized world, as a CBS broadcast put it, was anxiously waiting to hear Hitler's next threat. It came in an unprecedented live broadcast from the Nazi Party Congress in Nuremberg. Hitler demanded that the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia inhabited mostly by German-speaking people, become a part of Germany.
The Columbia Broadcasting System has brought its listeners the address by Adolf Hitler. At this time, we present H.B. Kaltenborn.
Good afternoon, everybody. Adolf Hitler has spoken, and the world has listened. The world has listened because it feared that this speech might mean war.
The British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, who'd never been on an aeroplane before, flew to Germany twice within 10 days to seek a peaceful settlement.
Just to see on the newsreel screen Chamberlain coming there with his umbrella, it's unthinkable to a German mind. Hitler with an umbrella, you know, you laugh when you think about that. We thought they were weak.
Chamberlain failed. Hitler refused to withdraw his demands. The Sudetenland would be his one way or the other. War now seemed inevitable. In Britain, nervous citizens began to build bomb shelters. In France, army reserves were called up. And then, only 24 hours before Hitler's promised invasion of Czechoslovakia, Prime Minister Chamberlain once again flew to Germany. At a meeting in Munich with Hitler and Italy's Benito Mussolini, Chamberlain abandoned the Sudetenland to Germany in return for what he called peace in our time. Hitler gave his word that there would be no more territorial claims. Chamberlain flew home to a hero's welcome from a Britain anxious to avoid another conflict after the devastating slaughter of World War I only 20 years earlier.
Here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. As symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
Chamberlain got what he thought was peace. Hitler got the Sudetenland.
To us Germans, it was a great thing. Their land is bordering on Germany, and as the Sudeten people were Germans, so we thought, yes, well, why should they live in Czechoslovakia?
On October the 1st, 1938, Hitler welcomed 3.5 million Czechoslovakians of German blood into the Reich. Hitler's reception was a replay of Austria. As Hitler was being cheered in the Sudetenland, the Nazis' campaign against German Jews was intensifying, very much aided by an incident in Paris. On November the 7th, a young Jew, Herschel Grinspan, distraught over the deportation of his parents, walked into the German embassy in Paris and shot a minor official, Ernst von Rath.
Whilst he was fighting death, the newspapers carried headlines, banner headlines against the Jewish people. The Jews have taken off their mask from their face. They have shown now what they want to do to us. It was dreadful. We said, if only this man does not die. But of course he died.